So what's the fastest way to build an email list of 1,000 people? Ooh, what a question. Coming up right now on this sort of live studio audience edition of the Rise to Top podcast. And welcome, my friends, to the Rise to Top podcast. It's your great and good friend, David Siteman Garland. And I said this is kind of a live studio edition because my dad is sitting to my right. So we have an audience of one here at the Rise to the Top studios, a.k.a. my home office here in St. Louis, Missouri. So I'm glad we got the live studio audience. I feel like we should have the laugh track. We should have all kinds of things here, but that's what we're doing. That's how we're doing it today here on the Rise to Top podcast. So the next few episodes of this podcast going to be diving into very specific questions that people have asked that are going to be helpful. So today, this was a really interesting question that came in via the private Create Awesome Online Courses Facebook group. It's just for our Create Awesome Online Courses customer. This came from Sandra Diaz, and Sandra was talking about email lists, right? Which is a very popular subject matter, really at all levels of the game, especially though when you're just starting. And she's saying, what is the fastest way to build your email list for your VIP launch? So we're talking about here is, what's the fastest way, I'm paraphrasing, to build an email list to get ready to launch your online course? And she talked about investing mostly time and investing money, what benchmarks, how long should it take, and kind of that type of thing. So I'm going to dive into that right now on the podcast. So first of all, let's talk about this for a second. One of the key things that I preach and have seen this through, students for years and years and years and years, and myself, is that to launch a successful online course now, we're talking, 2019, right? You want to have a minimum of 1,000 people on your email list, 1,000 of the right people. And that's another key thing here, right? 1,000 of the right people on your email list. Why? Because compared to really anything out there, and I don't care what it is, Instagram, Facebook, different things. And of course, those things are great traffic drivers to your email list. They can also help with sales. They can also help with your business for sure. But at the end of the day, what's really going to drive sales to your online course is going to be your email list. Bar none. Other things can help supplement it, but at the end of the day, and it's also what you control. It's what you control. It's what you own. You don't control Facebook. You don't control Instagram. You don't control YouTube, but you do control your email list. So the email list is vital. And it's funny because a lot of people think, well, I need to get 20,000 people or 50,000 people on my email list. That's not the case. The key is getting to that 1,000, right? Let's get to that 1,000 before you launch your online course. Now, if you've got 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 right now, it's awesome. You're ahead of the game. But that real magic number is 1,000. And we've seen this again from testing from years and years and years and years and years. Now, before I actually dive into this question, which is multi-layered, that's my big word for the day. That's as big as we get here with word-wise on the podcast, is multi-layered. But we have to talk about some foundational things before this, because here's why. A lot of people just want to go out there and start trying to get traffic and getting people on their email list by skipping the foundation. And that's not good. You do not want to skip the foundation. You don't want to build a house, without skipping the foundation. It's not a good idea. It's the same thing with email lists. And I see people do this all the time. And that is that they don't know who their perfect customer is going to be. They don't know who their perfect audience is. And they're just kind of guessing. Right? And this is something that used to happen back in the day, is people would kind of start a general blog or a general this or that and try to drive traffic to it, and then hoping people subscribe, and you didn't really know who these people were. So really, it starts with clarity about who you are, who you're going to serve, and how you're going to help them. That is critical before you even start thinking about how fast can I get to 1,000 pounds or 1,000 pounds. You probably don't want to weigh 1,000 pounds. You probably want 1,000 email subscribers, though. Is that you have to get very, very clear on your branding in terms of who you are, who you want to attract, and also kind of the look and feel that you're going for and all those different things. That's a first step. Before we even talk about, getting one subscriber, because I see people put the cart before the horse on this. They go out there, they start doing whatever they can to try to get attention and bringing people in, but they don't know who they're really trying to attract. So you have to get very, very clear on that, and that can take some time to figure that is, especially if you're just starting. Right? That could take some time to figure out who is this ideal person that I want to attract for my business and how I'm going to help them, right? With an online course, it's all about your expertise. You're going to be bringing your expertise and knowledge to the table. So who are these people? that you want to attract. So that's the first thing you have to think about before you even start talking about fastest way or all that kind of stuff as well. The second thing you need is you need an amazing giveaway. We call these lead magnets, right? Something that people are going to sign up for your email list for in exchange for their email address, right? So you're going to get something, they're going to get something awesome, and you're going to get their email address, and you can follow up with them, right? And this is very 101 stuff, but it's often forgotten all the time. What you don't want to do is just create a general email list. This was kind of the way it was done back in the day. In fact, Dad, who's sitting to my right here, this is how I started before I really understood all this stuff. 2008, 2009, 2010, my email list was not specific. It was just like, hey, sign up here and I'll send you podcast episodes and videos and stuff like that. It wasn't a specific thing around my expertise. And quite honestly, that was a mistake back in the day. Like if I would have really known what I knew now, I would have thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to teach, dogs how to do backflips, right? So my giveaway is going to always be related to people that have dogs that are interested in doing backflips, right? You have to make it related to that. You have to make that related to that. Like for example, Tamiko Kelly, who was on, I can't remember what episode, our editors will link it up for us, but she was on this. And if you go to her website, which I'm going to go to right now, Busy Mom's Guide to Baby Sleep Training, right? What's on there? How to get your baby on a sleep schedule of 4 simple tips with a free cheat sheet. And you go here, you download the cheat sheet, you're off to the races. Now, here's the thing what's interesting about this giveaway. This giveaway is designed for one specific type of person, someone trying to get their baby to sleep, nobody else, right? So it's going to repel anyone else that comes here that's not the right person. If I'm not trying to get my baby to sleep, I'm not going to obviously sign up for it. And also now I'm not wasting her time. She's not wasting my time. It's very clear what it is. So you want to be very, very specific in terms of who you're targeting and what you're giving away that's going to be eventually related to your online course and what you're going to be selling, right? So whether it's baby sleep training or dog doing backflips, whatever it is, whether it's a cheat sheet, a resource guide, a video series, there's a lot of things that you could do, a challenge, different stuff like that, but I'm just kind of giving broad strokes here that you need to have those two things set up. You don't even honestly need, it's funny, you honestly don't even need a full website to get started with this. You really don't. You don't need a 200-page website. You don't need a 5-page website. You could start with a killer landing page, right? And I would get one of my software, obviously shameless plug for that, either Course Cats or Conversion Cats. And depending on the goals of my website, I would have a landing page with a giveaway to get started, right? And then from there, you start building your email list, okay? Now, this is where it gets really interesting, and this is how I'm going to answer this question. And you're not going to probably like my answer to this question. You're probably going to sit there and be like, do not like your answer to this question, DSG, but guess what? I'm not going to be throwing BS at you on this podcast and start saying like, you know what? Here's how you can build your email list to 1,000 people in 4 minutes, right? If anyone says that to you, run, hide. It's BS, right? There's work that goes into this. So let's talk about traffic now for 2 seconds. Traffic is dependent on a few different things. First of all, what I always encourage people is to focus on 1 to 2 traffic strategies maximum at any given point, because anything more than that, it's going to be an overwhelming mess. You're not going to be able to do it, okay? Now, here's the interesting thing. People say, well, what's the best traffic strategy? And we teach traffic inside of Create Awesome Online Courses. We've got more traffic strategies coming soon. I actually just did a bunch of sessions with successful students sharing their number 1 traffic strategy, how they got to 1,000 people. And guess what you start finding out? That there are many, 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 many traffic strategies out there. There's Pinterest, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's in-person events. There's so many different things that you could do to traffic, right? To get traffic. The key is that you have to match your personality, your time frame, your budget with the strategy that works the best for you and also where your customers are, right? This is very important. So there's not a one-size-fits-all traffic strategy that I can say that's going to be the best and the fastest for everyone. Anyone that tells you that, run away. If you're especially if you're paying someone for some advice for that and they say, you know what, you have to do Facebook ads, you have to do Instagram stories, you have to do this or that, it's just not true. It's just not true because there's so many different ways, right? The key is focusing on 1 or 2 and doubling down then to get yourself to 1,000. Now you might be thinking, what are the benchmarks? How long is it going to take, etc.? Guess what? Can't answer it for you because there's other factors at play here. There's how much effort are you putting into it? How much time do you have? Do you have are you just a solo person trying to do this for, 30 minutes a day? Or are you trying to do this full time? Do you have a team? Are you spending money? Like, there's so many different factors on it. This would be the equivalent of someone saying, well, how long is it going to take to lose 50 pounds? Right? A lot of tracks for losing 50 pounds. A lot of different ways you could do it. A lot of different exercises, a lot of different diets, a lot of different things. Guess what? They could all get you there if you follow the right things and you don't follow 10 different programs at once. What's the time frame? It's going to vary. It's going to vary on your motivation. It's going to vary on how bad you want it. And it's also going to vary with how well you stick with it. That's another thing that I think people kind of mess up is they try a little bit and then, if they don't have this email list of 1,000 people in 4 days, right? It goes kaput. They say, well, this just doesn't work. That couldn't be farther from the truth. I remember when I got started, my first course that I launched, Create Awesome Interviews, we just had 400 people on the email list when we were getting started. And it doesn't take a massive one, but it takes the right people. So I would encourage you to focus on foundation first before traffic. And again, there's lots of traffic strategies. There's a lot of my products. There's going to be more of them coming out. We're not going to go through all of them here today on the podcast, but I just want to give you the glimpse here that there is no fastest way of doing this, but there are slowest ways of doing it. The slowest way of doing it is not focusing on email, because that'd be very hard to build an email list up. Another slow way is, like I said, to do that kind of general email list, like a newsletter list or something like that, where you don't really know who you're attracting. And number 3, another slow lane way of doing this is that you just create random content when you're still trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. Right? And you're doing blogs and this and that, and that's spending a lot of time for not a lot of return. So the first things you got to do is get very clear on who that avatar, who that person is going to be, what's going to be the thing that's going to attract them, and then getting it into their hands in 1 to 2 traffic strategies, and then continuing and waiting. I mean, in some cases, if you had 90 days with me, Dad, and you had 90 days with me, and you sat down, I would have someone choose like 1 traffic strategy. I would say, listen, watch the videos here, watch 20 traffic strategies, okay? And then I want you to write down, this is the exercise I would give someone, which one resonates the most with you, both in your personality, your time, your budget, and also where your audience is located. And let's double down on that for 90 days. And I guarantee you, we're going to make a lot of progress. And by the way, after that 90 days, it might be 1,000 people. It might be 500 people, it might be 10,000 people. It all depends on a lot of different factors, but about getting momentum going in the right direction. So there you go, my friends. That's the answer to this question that, again, I could come on here and blow smoke up your booty, but we're not going to be doing smoke up the booty. There's none of that on this. That's not how we roll. I could go in here and say, this is the strategy and this is what you have to do. I remember hearing this back in the day. People were like, you have to do this, you have to do that. Well, there's certain things you do have to do. You have to define your audience and what you're helping them. You have to do an amazing lead magnet and something that's going to attract people. Those are the have-tos. Then from there, you have options in terms of what you're going to do. So that is my no BS answer here today on the podcast. Woo, I don't even know if I took a breath. I'm excited by our live studio audience here today. To our right, I get to do these clapping. I love it. Anywho, on the way out here for next time, reminder, subscribe up. If you haven't subscribed up to the Rise Up Podcast, go to theriseup.com/subscribe. Many, many ways on there, including iTunes, which is kind of the preferred or most chosen method by most people. Subscribe up. New episodes every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central. And also, fun fact, if you remember in 2018, towards the end of the year, we did something really cool called the Outline Your Darn Course Challenge. Dad, you remember the Outline Your Darn Course Challenge, of course. And what the Outline Your Darn Course Challenge is a free 5-day challenge where you get short videos from me and tips every single day for 5 days with a quick exercise to do. And I'm talking an exercise that just takes a few minutes, not 10 hours a day or anything like that, something that's a few minutes. And within 5 days, you'll have your course completely outlined. And we did this challenge live in 2018. It was a massive success. We had benchmarks along the way. And the key with the outline of doing an outline of your course is it generates momentum. It generates momentum, and it also creates the framework for kind of everything else in your business, because you're turning your knowledge into a system that you've outlined now. And you can do it you can now use that for all kinds of stuff, your lead magnet, your course, your webinar, whatever you want to do. And so the Outline Your Darn Course Challenge was so popular that we are bringing back You can sign up now at therisethetop.com/outline your darn course. risetop.com/outline your darn course. You go there, you enter your name and email, and your challenge will start right away, and you'll get all the videos coming to you over 5 days. You're going to have, there's prizes, there's benchmarks, there's fun. You're going to generate a lot of momentum. Sign up for it. What are you waiting for? therisetop.com/outline your darn course. All right, my friends, I will see you next time. This has been David Siteman Garland, along with the live studio audience, aka Randy Garland, here on the Rise Top Podcast. And remember, if you want some fluff, you know what to do. Go pet a bunny.
Hello, my name's Aviva. We're in Daddy's office. Yeah, Daddy's office. Daddy's office.